This is a short journey into the rich, multifaceted realm of deep mapping. More than charting coordinates or plotting routes, deep mapping is an immersive exploration of place that intertwines geography with science, history, culture, emotion, and personal experience. It is a radical reimagining of how we understand and represent the world around us, a fusion of the tangible and intangible, the seen and unseen. Originating from the fields of humanities and social science, deep mapping has evolved with the advent of digital technologies, enabling more dynamic and interactive representations. My laboratory undertakes a range of deep mapping activities within the framework of computational museology. Computational museology provides a scaffold that unites machine intelligence with data curation, ontology with visualization, and communities of publics and practitioners with embodied interaction through immersive interfaces. This framework is designed to empower cultural organizations to link all forms of culture and materiality, objects, knowledge systems, representation, and participation. The theoretical framework for this section is based on Cato criticism. We need to reconceive interpretations of the map as moving, embodied, social, technical, and emotive, and as opportunities to represent alternative visual solutions to specific problems depicting and describing places and time. Conceiving of maps through a deep mapping schema posits that they're never fully formed, they're not static, but emerging and navigational processes where everything is on the move. Traveling to historic India, Place Humpy is an artwork that was commissioned for France India Year in 2006 and has subsequently toured all over the world. Humpy is both a monumental World Heritage precinct and a vibrant center for contemporary pilgrimage, and the artwork recombines 25 square kilometers of this extraordinary terrain in a 3D panoramic imaginary. We shoot these panoramas on a rare stereoscopic film camera. Left and right eye are combined, and then we create these navigable panoramic worlds. We undertake ambisonics for a 3D architecture of sound, and in this case, the somatic resonances of Place Humpy are informed by aspects of Indian cultural and religious life, in particular here, the history of chromolithography and the scopic regime of magical realism. This is a scene from the Ramayana in Kishkinda, or of Kishkinda. Humpy is said to be Kishkinda. The strategies we use here recall the conversation that takes place between the idioms of chronolithography, theater, film, and photography observable in the late 19th and 20th centuries in India. We worked together with Indian animators and artists. It was the first 3D animation ever done in India. Here you can see motion capture for Shiva dancing as Nataraj. So in this artwork, the user rotates a projected 3D image in 360 degrees. They put on stereoscopic glasses for this. And any member of the public takes up to about 25 visitors on a serendipitous journey of discovery to the many wonderful locations at Humpy. Visitors can speak into a microphone which is mounted on the platform, which releases Sanskrit text into the world coming from chapter 13 and 37 of the Ramayana to do with the gathering of the monkeys at Kishkinda. And then entering inside some of these panoramas, we have these animated vignettes of Hindu gods, accompanied by music by Dr. L. Subramanian, a Carnatic violin superstar. This artwork became the center of an exhibition for a major undertaking in Melbourne, the Ancient Humpy exhibition, which really dwelt on the archaeological imaginary of this site. And then in 2011, the exhibition was bought by the Jindal Art Foundation, and a purpose-built museum precinct was made for the exhibition, and it's just 20 kilometers from the site itself. The Atlas of Maritime Buddhism is based on the compelling story of the spread of Buddhism from India through the seaports of Southeast Asia and the South China Sea, supported by archaeological and historical evidence that has never been brought together before. This research and exhibition series has profound contemporary relevance to the socio-economic and political transformation of the world. While far-reaching initiatives of enterprise such as Belt and Road reactivate ancient maritime, overland and trading routes, the Atlas counterbalances prevailing narratives which have neglected the importance of Pan-Asian maritime countries and in particular Buddhist entrepreneurship in the expansion of trade from the 2nd century BCE to the 15th century CE. The spread of Buddhist doctrines from India to China triggered a profusion of cross-cultural exchange. And our atlas starts in the rock-cut cave of India. We imaged thousands of locations and hundreds of sites with this stereoscopic camera. Here you see the Shwagadon Pagoda, the most revered site in Yangon in present-day Myanmar. And we started this multimodal imaging project. This is Ajanta Caves in India. So we use a myriad of field work-friendly techniques, gigapixel imaging, spherical video, 2 types of stereographic panoramas. This is an example of the collection of contemporary practice at many of these archaeological sites, Buddhist pilgrimage in India. We record ambisonics for contemporary practice right throughout the region, and here numerous sculptures using photogrammetry. Here, Jayavarman VII from Angkor at the National Museum of Cambodia in Phnom Penh. All of these materials were brought together at Fo Guang Shan Monastery. There's also a touring exhibition. This is a permanent exhibition, 2 million visitors in 18 months. So it's actually set to expand its space. And it's a classical exhibition, narrative, architecture, the texts, the objects, the monks, and so on. But these key features of the digital here, a 12-meter diameter projection environment, allowing visitors to navigate the space, spherical video in idomes. This is Tiantong Temple in Ningbo in China. And the tension between the real and the virtual is also staged powerfully, incorporating important treasures from the Fo Guang Shan Monastery. The scalability of digital data is, of course, one of its intrinsic qualities. So here, gigapixel images restaged on an iPad, a navigable world, and then again, it can be done on your phone. So the exhibition is now going to be another permanent museum at Buddhavanam near Nagarjunakonda in Telangana state in India, coinciding with a major emphasis on the possibilities of spiritual tourism in India alongside more established Buddhist circuits in the north of India. Songlines, also known as dreaming tracks in Aboriginal Australian culture, are oral traditions that describe the paths taken by ancestral beings during the dream time, the creation period in Aboriginal belief systems. Each songline is a series of song stories and dances that correspond to specific landmarks and natural phenomena across the land. Much like a deep map, songlines serve as living maps that convey intricate details about the environment. They instruct listeners on how to navigate vast territories by referencing natural features like rivers, mountains, and the stars, effectively embedding wayfinding information within cultural and spiritual contexts. In collaboration with the Anagu Elders and the National Museum of Australia, we created 2 dome experiences travelling the Karangulpa, the songlines of the Seven Sisters. This songline portrays one of the most defining and predominant meta-narratives chronicled in ancient mainland Australia, but never told in the public domain until this exhibition. A traumatic history of colonial contact made its custodians wary of disclosing details of their sacred knowledge, and yet the songline was in jeopardy. This project was 7 years in the making, from the day the community asked for help to put their broken songline back together. The digital dome was chosen by the Matu artists and used for this project to simultaneously express the sphere of the world around us, the sky above and the ground below, enveloping viewers as they lie supine as these creation beings travel, leaving land formations in their wake. Cave Hill, for example, and the constellations of Pleiades and Orion in the southern night sky. The first work involved photogrammetry of a sacred cave that had never been photographed before. Time-lapse photography, drone-based panoramas, and gigapixel imaging, as well as ambisonics, allowing visitors intimate views of the stories contained in its sandstone folds. The second journey immerses visitors in a series of projected artworks of the songline made by its custodians. These are truss grass jumpy figures. They represent the Seven Sisters, and this is a ceremony where they're being sung off the land to their new home at the National Museum of Australia. Here we created photogrammetric models, and then images for the full dome were painted by the Matu artists, leading to complex sets of interpretation which described the various narratives of the songlines, and ultimately these were animated for the full dome system. So this is a shot from the opening of the show. It was a very important watershed for curatorial and Indigenous relationships in Australia, and it's subsequently been touring all over the world, at the Humboldt Forum, at the Quai Branly in Paris, and it opened actually today, can you believe, in Finland. So something to celebrate. One of the issues I investigate in my lab is to redefine the tools for searching an archive. These tools remain rooted in archival conventions of grammatocentrism, where expert knowledge is the key to entry. Deep mapping of these archives offers a paradigm shift for museums, where archives are a new terrain upon which curators will reckon with heritage materiality and calculate and define new fine-grained ontologies, relationships, and narratives. One example is based on EPFL's seminal Montreux Jazz Archive Digitization Project, which is a UNESCO-listed Memory of the World archive. Jazz Luminaries is a constellation of jazz greats from the archive. The installation cuts, remixes, and replays 5,400 artists and 13,000 videos from this total archive of 11,000 hours of video. The neural net that you see here represents the social network map of the artists, and the clustering is based on the number of times one artist played with other artists. It is, in fact, B.B. King that lies at the very center of this dense network. Visitors lie under the dome and use a spherical interface to navigate this constellation, emulating the hemisphere of the full dome in which it's staged. The search paradigm is akin to tuning a radio. It's searching by listening. It's to circumvent the lack of public knowledge into who jazz performers are. So it's hearing what you like that gets the design to unfold in 3 layers. All samples, all songs by one performer, and then the full song from the beginning. historic panoramic painting can also be considered a deep map because it captures a vast expanse of time and space, embedding layers of historical, cultural, and social information within a single immersive visual narrative. These paintings provide more than just visual representation. They offer a comprehensive exploration of a place's identity, often at a particular moment in history. Much like a deep map, a historic panoramic painting integrates geography with these historical events, personal stories, and cultural context, creating a multi-dimensional understanding of the place or event portrayed. It invites viewers not only to see the physical land, but to interpret and engage with the rich tapestry of history and meaning woven into every scene, thus functioning as a visual deep map of its time. The Terapixel Panorama project concerns a Swiss national icon, the painting the panorama representing the Swiss Battle of Confederation in 1476 by the German artist Louis Braun, who painted it in 1893. So it's a 19th century painting of a 15th century event. Upon its completion, the panorama was shown just for 7 years in Zurich and Geneva, and then it was abandoned with the demise of this media form and the rise of cinema as mass entertainment. It was rediscovered in the 1990s. Conservation began in 1997. Over a 6-year period, it was then re-erected inside a panoramic screen and then floated on the Lake of Merton in a box built by Jean Nouvel for the Swiss National Expo in 2002, then returned to obscurity in the Swiss Alps, from where we rescued it after 20 years. The full length of the painting is 100 meters. It's in 3 sections, each 10 meters high and weighing a ton each. We took this painting to my laboratory, and we ran a full conservation project over several months, built motorized platforms, spare rolls, and basically did lots of vacuum cleaning. It was in incredibly good condition due to the restoration project upon it. We then imaged it with a IXH 150 megapixel camera, generously sponsored by Phase 1. We built a motorized imaging rig which can travel 10 meters of the vertical height of the roll, and we stitched together 27,000 images to create a 1.6 trillion pixel image. So it was imaged at 1,000 dpi. So this turns out to be the largest image ever created. It's not actually rocket science, camera array photography, but the confounding factor here, of course, is it's a hyperbolic image, so it is not flat, and none of the softwares that are available are able to deal with the hyperbolic nature. So we wrote a bunch of new software to be able to stitch all the images together. And voila, it's in our 360 system. The superfine resolution allows visitors to zoom into more than the naked eye can see. And then there are a whole series of augmentations of this and a range of exhibitions will take place throughout Switzerland. Here you're just seeing a few of the augmented effects, a magnifying glass, but we've also been developing a smell necklace, and this allows us in real time to release the smells of such a painting, or rather it's scene depicted, so we're talking about blood, sweat, ghosts, horse manure, and so on for an olfactory immersion. This is our smell map. Yeah, so blood, close-up paint, countryside, smoke, gunpowder, horses, the lake, and so on and so forth. We're also undertaking a lot of volumetric video here in a volumetric video studio. Here you can see a scene. So these are reenactment performers. This is a looting scene, very important in the Swiss imaginary. And here is the looting. And we've also been scanning objects in museums throughout the country. And just to end, really, we're also working a lot with scientific data visualization. And here, in collaboration with astrophysics, we completed the largest known representation of the universe to be run in real time. Cosmos archaeology transforms these largely abstract data sets into formats accessible to the human senses while also encouraging cognitive insight. So we're traveling here in 27 orders of magnitude. And I won't go into the whole exhibition. It's touring also all over the world, and current soon to be at the National Museum of China. So thank you very much. Just a short introduction to the many wonderful worlds of deep mapping. Thank you.